Okay, you guys. So remember how I was so excited to talk to you last week because I had lovely news about that beautiful Venus Cazimi. And maybe it just felt relaxing. Like maybe there just wasn't anything going on, or you got to have a lovely glass of wine with a friend, or go to the pumpkin patch with your sister-in-law and your kids. Those are the things that I got to do that just felt good and connective and nurturing and all of those things. We did all the pumpkin things, but this week paints a different story. Okay, we've got our let's cleanse ourselves, we've got our freaking candles, we got our hippie music, okay? Because it's big news this week, all right? It's something that isn't going to be new, which is the fortunate thing about it, at least, because we've been in this eclipse season for a little while. The problem, the hardship with this eclipse season is that it's in Scorpio. That's not cozy, all right? We're dealing with subject matters that are hard, that have previously been maybe hidden, or shared resources, wherever like the monsters under your bed are, which we all know we have some, are really coming to the surface. And, in weeks like this, where there is a time of hardship, it's always a choice, how we're going to go into it. And this is the part of the story that we love the most in literature, right? It's the hero's journey. It's where Atreyu sets off on his adventure. But have you guys actually read that book? Because I was reading it to my kiddo, and there's no he doesn't even know what he's doing. They just are like, go, you're wearing this amulet so you can go and just figure it out. And he's like this kid. That's probably how we're all feeling this week, right? Go forth and conquer. And you're like, wait though, what am I supposed to be conquering? But it's gonna come to get you. Just like all that swamp of sadness and shit. The horse is coming for you to drown in the mud. So how are you going to interpret that for yourself? How are you going to work with that for yourself? What does that mean for you? And instead of getting heady with it, instead of getting anxious about it, instead of being up here, we need to be down here. We need to be in our cores. We need to find our center this week and not rush through it. It's like that going on a bear hunt. You can't go over it. You can't go under it. You're just going to have to go through it. And what that looks like for all of us is going to be really different. And listen, if you good, Holmes, good for you. But look around you at the people that are going to be going through stuff today. I just had my blood drawn this morning, and there was one lady who was just having a really frustrated time with the workers. And it's try to see everybody's side, right? The worker is stressed and understaffed. She's stressed because she's been sent all throughout the hospital to all the wrong rooms, and she's totally at her max. We're all a little maxed, and I think the hardship about particularly this eclipse in general is that we're all a little tapped. It's been a long run, guys, of a lot of things that feel sticky and hard. And this is a sticky and hard potential for the week, because the other thing that we have happening is Mars is going retrograde, okay? Could it be any more of a hero's journey, right? Because Mars is our warrior sign, okay? Mars is in history Scorpio's ruler, okay? Now it's Pluto, but it used to be Mars. So we've got some I just got goosebumps. We've got some really deep work going on right now. And it's I've always said this when things come up that are hard, and it's we can choose a victim stance or we can choose a warrior stance. Our warrior stance is going to be harder to access because Mars is going to be retrograde, right? So it's almost shorter tempers. Things not going the way we planned, our path not feeling particularly laid out for us. It's so hard when we're mixing hard things with uncertainty, right? Because we all want to plan and we all want to be certain about what's going to happen next. But who wants to read a book when you know what's going to happen next? I know there are some of you, okay? I know you guys like to reread your stories, and that's comforting, but this isn't that. You can't do that. This is a new hill. This is a new goddamn mountain that we're having to climb. And I love the line, those mountains you were carrying, you were only supposed to climb them. Like, that to me is the affirmation for this week. Don't take on more than you need to. Don't carry the freaking mountain, like, just climb it. And if you can climb it in a balanced way, if you can know that maybe some things are going to come up that are going to feel hard, like, really introduce your warrior to yourself. Really introduce that hero, because we all are the heroes of our own fiction, okay? And that is a really important thing to remember this week, right? We're going to be bumping into each other, and remember, you're the hero of your story, but they're the hero of theirs. So our stories are so up right now. Like, this is a part of fate. What's happening right now is what's supposed to be happening. So what's happening right now on a mass level is we're all going through some sort of hero's arc. Isn't that cool that we all get to do it together? I think that that's really cool. So how do we hold hands in it? Instead of judge the other person, you know, it's like perspective is everything. If you can this week give each other the benefit of the doubt and be a little bit more compassionate and maybe be a little bit more curious about the person that is checking your groceries, about the person that is crossing the street at the same time as you, about the person that's sitting in the bench across from you at the park. If we can get curious about their histories, hurt stories, you know, those kinds of things, then the more compassionate we feel and the more open we are to receive our own messages when we care about the collective receiving theirs. You know, it's really, once we start seeing the world as not just ours personally, but ours globally, you know, then our perspective can really change when it comes to struggle. You know, I read something the other day. I'm reading this great book, and it was talking about, there was a study about how people that came out of war, or like war times or the Depression or whatever, missed the closeness that they felt with the people around them. That all of a sudden, when things were okay, they all like dispersed, and that, wow, all of those things were incredibly difficult. The closeness, the community, the collective suffering, you know, helped ease the internal personal suffering. So let's look at this as a hand-holding experiment, you guys. Like, this could be hard for some of us. Maybe some of us have been doing the work for so long that this will feel cathartic. Maybe this will be the like juicy fucking chomp you need to like move forward in this life, for yourself. You know, but the truth is, if you're not willing to face the hard truths, if you're not willing to like put aside the victimhood and put on the armor that is internal growth, then it's going to be harder, you know, or it's not going to resonate and you're going to struggle more. The more open we can be to our struggles and accountable, you know, because our struggles happen to us for a reason. The thing that I love so much about astrology is that instead of saying, why does this happen to me? It's, this is supposed to happen to me. And like, fill in the hardest thing that's ever happened in your entire life. You know, 3 of those things have happened to me in the last 3 years. The hardest things that have ever happened in my life have happened to me, is what it feels like right now. And it'd be so easy to be like, oh, I'm a victim. Oh, poor me. Oh, this, that, the other. But instead of saying, why me, you know, flipping that script and saying, of course me. Like, this is the like life that is laid out for me to learn my lessons. And if you accept that, then that means when the good things happen, that's meant for you too. Do you see? We can't eat on just one side of the apple. We got to eat both sides of the apple. Eve would want us to, right? We've got to eat both sides of the apple, because you have to accept the hard things that happen to you the same as you accept the good things that happen to you, right? You worked hard for those good things. Guess what? You worked really hard for these bad things too. Like, I hate to break it to you, but the bad things that happen to us are always the most cosmic and meaningful times of our lives. You know, they're the times that awaken us, you know? It's that collective slap across the face that wakes us up and says, are we living the way that we are meant to be living? And sometimes it takes really awful hard things for us to then say, oh, all right, I got to swerve. I can't just keep doing this same thing forever, because same thing forever equals no growth, no industry, no innovation, and this is a time to be incredibly innovative with your pain. Like, what is hurting? Close your eyes. What's hurting? Where is it hurting? What is the history behind the hurting? Dig it out, you guys. Dig it out, and then find this warrior energy, because with Mars retrograde, it's a retrospective opportunity to look at how we show up for ourselves. Nobody in this world owes us anything, but we owe each other the world. Is that an Ani DeFranco line? I think it is. We don't owe each other anything. We owe each other the world. Nobody is going to fix this for you. But when we start fixing things for ourselves, imagine if the collective started doing that. What our world would be like. Whoa. Big bursts of accountability. It all lies in our hands. Our reality is our choice. I've chosen to be hurt for a really long time, and I think that that's normal, and I forgive myself for that choice, but this period of time, there's no room for why me. There's only room for, of course, me. And I'm here viscerally in this moment, choosing to accept my grief, choosing to accept my loss, choosing to accept my pain and sit with it. We are such a society of numb it, watch a show, go jog, go do this, look at TikTok, look at this, look at that. We're so preconditioned to not look inside of ourselves that we're all getting really spun out. And these eclipses remind us that we have to find ourselves again. We can't just keep distracting ourselves and letting ourselves bleed out, letting the infection get worse. We need to excavate the problem. We need to look deeply at how we have been living our lives and see where the gaps are, where are the places we're not showing up. And listen, I'm not saying work harder. We're all working really hard. I'm just saying work smarter, okay? Instead of, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to get the bed made, I have to get the clothes folded. It's what if you today just said, I just need to understand me a little bit extra today. I just need to understand the other people in my universe a little bit extra today. It's when we start having compassion and energy and openness, then energy and compassion and openness is what we get back. And what if we were all doing that? I mean, what a vibe. What an absolute vibe. Oh, okay. And here we are. Here we are. Oopsie. Sorry, guys. But doesn't it make sense? Okay. Look at though. We're carrying a lot, but don't forget that it is okay to put some things down. We've been warriors for a really long time. We've had to be. COVID has forced us into a fight or flight reality for so long. Okay, this is nothing new. The storm clouds are still here. We're walking away from our kingdom. This is the hero's journey. Okay? It's not a fun journey. That middle section of any book gets dicey. It's not a good book if you're not how is this author going to pull it together? What is going to happen to this character? What is going to happen to you? And instead of being afraid, because this card looks kind of scary, it looks sharp, it looks hard, and it is going to be hard, and it is a little scary, and it is freaking sharp. Okay, cool. What are we going to do about it? What are we going to learn from it? What are we going to accept as something that isn't acceptable anymore? What are we going to go ahead and shift and change and move inside of ourselves? For some of us, this is going to be very internal. For some of us, it's going to be very external. For some of us, maybe we won't feel it at all. Wouldn't that be something? But I have a hard time believing that it's not going to be felt at all. Because when Mars goes retrograde too, it is kind of big news. It is kind of how are you sticking up for yourself? What journey are you going on? What do you need to do to become the warrior that you were born to be? In this new reality, we don't have hunter-gatherers. We don't have, these big moments of turnout. But we do. We do. They're just not in the way that we classically know it to be. When you stick up for yourself to someone who's treated you badly, or you don't even need to stick up for yourself. You stick up for yourself on the inside and you say, it doesn't matter because I am mine and I only get that. This life, all that I know is that I am mine and that at the end of the day, I am going to come home to myself. And what does that mean to you? Like, these are the really visceral, chewy questions that don't have ready answers. You know, that's your job. That's nobody else's job but yours. If you'd like a solar eclipse reading and this Mars retrograde reading, you can certainly message me and reach out. I'd love it if you'd like and subscribe to my page so that I can keep making these lovely videos because I do so love them. I've got my candle lit, you guys. Light your candles. Fortify yourself. Don't go fast this week. Go slow. Lower your voice. You know, really find the resonance in what is going on. It's not the meaning of life. It's the feeling of life. What are you feeling right now? What is up for revision? And guys, how can we shift? Let's shift. Isn't it uncomfortable? Isn't where you've been a little uncomfortable? Aren't you ready to move it? Well, here's the good news about eclipses. It moves it for you. You don't even have to do anything, okay? Stuff's gonna move. It's gonna move. You may not like where it moves you, but it is going to pick you up and it is going to place you somewhere. And now, yay, you get to go on your hero's journey. Good news, bad news, perspective. That's what it's about. Because then after all of this, then Mercury's going to come into the game and do a little retrospective all its own. It's going to meet up with Mars. And it's like, what are we going to do about that? How are we going to shift our way of thinking? How are we going to shift our way of doing? So we become the warrior that we would want to read in a really kick-ass book. Okay, it doesn't have to be like goblins and zombies and stuff. It can be like a really beautiful self-transformation that really changes the scope of how you see yourself, how you see the world, and how you start to see others operating in the world. So that's it. That's what it is. Okay, it's not easy. It's not necessarily fun, but it is soulful. It is a soulful time Scorpio demands it. Scorpio is a no bullcrap sign. Okay? Scorpio deals with secrets though. It is the house of secrets and lies and shared resources and sexuality and trauma and all of these places. So look at what's bubbling up to the surface for you in those energies. And how do we go ahead and pick up our swords and become the hero of our own freaking story? Because that's what we're here to do. And I wish you a good week and let me know how it goes because I'm rooting for you and I'm rooting for me.